You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about sports in the state of Michigan?
You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're giving you the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on Stables Media, the show that provides research and statistics about all the Detroit and Michigan sports teams, whether fans like it or not, and detects, exposes, and reveals actual and hidden facts and truth that the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. No junk, no entertainment, no homerism, no slappiness, no coddling, no pop culture, no conspiracy theories, no opinions, no shilling, and no fluff. Head over to our website, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast.com. Follow us on Twitter, Periscope, and Instagram at Michigan_Truth, and like and share our verified Facebook page, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Also listen to us on Spreaker, CastBox, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast via iTunes, and Spotify, and like Stables Media on Facebook. The Michigan Sports Truth Podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers, nor does it represent or compete against any mainstream media in the state of Michigan. It is also not for entertainment or debating purposes. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them. And it is for every sports fan's own good because the truth is out there. And welcome to another episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on Stables Media. I'm Taylor Phillips along with Ed Smith. My opening statement, the Tigers became streaky before splitting today's doubleheader while the Lions prepare for the NFL draft. As for the Wings and Pistons, they haven't been taking right as of late. Ed, what is your opening statement?
The opening statement that I have for this week is we're seeing a little bit more of what this Tigers team is a little bit made of. Same thing in regards to our to the Pistons and the Red Wings. And frankly, I am a little bit more excited about what the upcoming NFL draft will provide for the Lions in terms of scheme, fit, and overall future.
Definitely. So before we get started, we want to remind everyone to download the all-new social sports mobile app, VigIt. Enter the referral code STABLES for Stables Media when you sign up. Available on the Apple App Store and Google Play. Download the VigIt app and sign up with the referral code STABLES for 1,000 free Vig coins. So the Tigers, they swept the Houston Astros last week, and then they got swept in 4 games in Oakland. Don't know what that Coliseum is called nowadays, but I forgot the name of it. But anyway,
I still call it the Oakland Coliseum. Forget all that corporate stuff.
Me too. Yeah, the Tiger. Yep. Let me look it up right now. It's drat.
I know for a while it was known as the O.Co Coliseum. I do know that at least.
Yep. So anyway, it is the Oakland Coliseum anyway. Plays, got stats. Anyway, Tigers got swept by the Oakland Athletics at Brightnet Coliseum, whatever that's called. Anyway, yeah, they got swept, but they split the doubleheader against the Pittsburgh Pirates. They lost game 1, 3-2. Michael Fulmer lasted 4 innings, pitched 3 perfect innings before he got lit up in the 4th inning, giving up 3 runs, but then Tariq Skubal took over. He didn't give up any runs. Fulmer gave up all 3 in that 4th inning. He just fell apart. Still working on his duration progression or whatever you call it. But
I would still say I would be able to believe that he's just working himself back because let's remember his past couple of seasons have been cut short and derailed and altered by the amount of injury that he suffered. So he's had to adjust himself to that. Adjusting his body into different shape. You see all the weight he's lost. And I think he's just working himself back into as good enough game shape as possible. Now, like you mentioned, with the 3 innings, he did look good. There was the promise of what we saw, of what Michael Fulmer could be once again. But then you get your reality check in the 4th inning and realize, okay, there's still ways to go. But even still, like you said, Tubal came in. He held down the fort. And for Fulmer, even though, yes, he did give up 3 runs, you got to remember the fact that his offense did not give him much run support either. So it was smart of Hinch to take out Fulmer when he did. It stopped the bleeding. Pittsburgh didn't score anymore after that. Fortunately, the hitters were just not able to execute.
No, absolutely not. It is the Oakland Coliseum, by the way. So obviously we nailed it. So anyway, Tigers took game 2 by the final score of 5-2. Akil Baddoo first hit in 6 games, an RBI double. Looked like it was going to be an RBI, just a single advancing. Let's see, which Castro was it? Oh shoot, just a tad. It's Harold Castro, RBI single. Willie Castro, Willie Castro in the bottom of the. No, that's
no, it has to be Harold.
Nico Goodrum. Nico Goodrum scoring. Yeah, Goodrum. My apologies. Yeah, Nico Goodrum was going on the pitch from first base, and Badu at least singled up the gap, and he stretched it into a double. And Goodrum, with just incredible speed, just mowed around second and third, and he tried for home, and he scored. He didn't even. The Pirates defense didn't even attempt to make a play at the plate. They just let Goodrum go, and either that or the throw was cut off, and Goodrum and Badu took second with an RBI double.
Well, you got to think. Remember, this is Nico Goodrum running it. This is not exactly a hobbled Miguel Cabrera.
No. Goodrum can run. Incredible speed. Yeah, and that's all I'm talking about. We're not even arguing Cabrera. This is Goodrum. But man, I know he's got incredible speed, but my gosh, he went from first to home on what I thought was going to be a single, but it was a double. Wow.
They
both ran hard.
You got to remember, in Comerica, it's a more spacious ballpark. It's not necessarily a shorter ballpark compared to, say, Boston or New York or Baltimore. So if you can find the right line or find the right gap, you can definitely score from first easily, especially if you got speed, the likes of Goodrum.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So the Pistons trail the Dallas Mavericks 67-58 at halftime. I just get an update, but we're still talking Tigers. We'll get to Pistons and Wings, the Tank Watch, in a moment. But the Tigers, prior to the doubleheader, designated Renato Nunez for assignment. He had a .651 OPS in 7 games after signing a minor league deal. Mm-hmm. So Renato Nunez, if he clears like waivers or something like that, or something like that, just either he goes down to the minors again or just gets given his unconditional release. We'll keep an eye on that. But speaking of Miguel Cabrera, he's still on the 10-day injured list. So Tigers play tomorrow against the Pirates in a rubber game. Yesterday's game was postponed, so today's game was a makeup game. Fuller was scheduled to start. He did. Took a loss. Tigers 110. Jose Urena, who had 2 not so shabby starts hasn't been too shabby his last 2 starts after getting
he's 0-3 in fact.
First.
Yeah, in fact he's 0-3. Yeah.
Yeah, with a 5.52 ERA.
Mm.
Yeah, Jose Urena
does not look good, especially for a getaway game.
He's taking on Keller, Mitch Keller, with an 8.74 ERA and a 2.12 WHIP. Oh my God!
Yeah, this is the absolute definition of getaway game for both teams.
Should be a slugfest, at least for the Tigers' way. I would predict.
You would think, but this team has had some difficulty scoring in certain spots this past week.
Yeah, their offense usually stinks.
Yeah, but now I will give them some credit because Oakland has been on fire as of late. They're the hottest team in baseball. They've won double-digit now straight games. Some of that comes down to luck, but also it speaks to how well fundamental Oakland is to be able to execute in the right spots, and they showed it to their best ability against the Tigers, winning in walk-off fashion. I think they just got another win today against the Twins with another walk-off fashion. That's now, their 11th straight game they've won, I believe. So there's that. The Tigers can hang their head on that at least. And the fact that now that you come home and you're able to at least split a doubleheader. Again, getaway game for sure tomorrow, but knowing that the other starting pitcher has a tendency to give up a lot of gas, you find yourself a chance. And, it's not a necessarily getaway game because you still come right back home on Friday, but at least Casey Mize will be pitching Friday.
Yeah, Casey Mize, obviously had a rough first 2 innings. He gave up a home run to Matt Olson Saturday late afternoon, and then gave up 4 runs in the second inning, but buckled down to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings in Oakland. Still lasted 5 innings, regardless of that rough second inning. Mize settled down, and he did his job.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is the key. Yeah.
Once he doesn't try to concentrate or focus so much on getting the swings and misses and strikeouts, you can see more details of his game hamper out and show. Obviously, he still has ways to go, much to learn. He's young after all, And you're going to have rough and tough outings such as this, like we saw against Oakland. But you know the good stuff that he possesses, and you're willing to put up with whatever growing pains he goes through. And, now you just got to see what he gives you against a division opponent on Friday.
Oh, yeah. So that's Tigers. Red Wings Tank Watch, they're sixth worst in the NHL at 16-25-7 with 39 points. They signed 2021 first-round draft pick Lucas Raymond to a 3-year entry-level contract. That was actually last year's pick, 2020. And then the NHL is targeting an October 12th start for the 2021-2022 season. That's when the NHL returns to ESPN media-wise. So there's that.
Well, all I can say about Lucas Raymond, I hope he does not come another Evgeny Svechnikov or any of the other 7 busts that we were discussing recently on an episode a few weeks back of, notable draft picks that once they came up to the pros, they floundered. So hopefully we won't be adding Lucas Raymond's name to that unfortunate list anytime soon.
Gotcha, yep. So Pistons, their Tank Watch, tied for 4th worst in the NBA with the Orlando Magic at 18-40. The Pistons hold that tiebreaker. Both the Pistons and Magic at 18-40, but the Pistons hold that tiebreaker. But they're down, like I mentioned before, 67-58 to the Dallas Mavericks at halftime. Third quarter actually just getting underway. Mavericks with the ball, 67-59. Pistons just recently hit a free throw, 11:29 left. Foul's going to be on Jeremy Grant with 15 on the shot clock. Mavericks moving from right to left on Bally Sports Detroit Plus.
But, it seems that the expected matchup of the two teams' best scorers, Luka Doncic for the Mavs and Jeremy Grant, of course, for the Pistons, is already living up to expectations.
Yeah, definitely. So,
but yeah, I will say though, there have been other instances. I think Sadiq Bey the other game, he had like 6 threes. That was impressive. In
6 3 bombs.
Yeah, it was impressive. Bombs. Yeah, that was impressive. Yeah, I think it was. I don't know if it was against Washington or what, but I do remember seeing that Sadiq Bey had hit 6 threes, so that was very impressive to see. Killian Hayes, he had about 9 assists. Frank Jackson had a double-double. So you're starting to see some of the young pieces show glimpses of what their roles are and what they're supposed to be. You just need, a little bit more talent, obviously, to help bridge that gap. And if it comes down to a new head coach, to help lead him in a certain way, I wouldn't necessarily be too opposed to it. I like Dwayne Casey. I think he's a solid coach, for a reason. There was a reason why he won Coach of the Year while he was with Toronto. But I think there's also certain litmus tests, or rather a level limit that he can only achieve so high. And if it comes down to it, the Pistons feel that Coach Casey isn't getting getting the job done as of late, or best enough to their satisfaction. Yeah, they may feel the need to move on in a different direction. Now, thing is, I don't know when. I think you can make an early assumption that after next year will be my earliest guess. I don't see them making a change this upcoming off season. I would say next year, if there's not significant improvements, so to speak, then yeah, there could be a possibility that we may see some potential changes. But until then, Coach Casey has nothing to be fretful about concerning his job.
Yeah, Dwayne Casey, yeah. We never know with him. So that's Pistons. Before we get to the Lions, Michigan Wolverines football news. Quarterback Joe Milton has transferred to the Tennessee Volunteers. So Joe Milton finding a new school, going to play for the Volunteers.
And likely be in a better spot to contend for their starting position there than he would here. Because it seems like we're leaning more towards one of the younger guys, or say J.J. McCarthy, for instance, being one of the front runners to land that spot, which I think is kind of understandable because there was some hype and attention brought into Milton when he finally became the starter. Looked good for Minnesota, but then it just fizzled utterly and completely. And then once you saw him got benched and replaced, it was all downhill and essentially over from there. So it doesn't surprise me that he transferred. He feels it's the right decision for him, and I will say hats off and best of luck to him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now the Lions. The NFL Draft is April 29th at 8 p.m. on ESPN. That's a week from Thursday. That's a week from tomorrow. The Lions, what I heard earlier from this week, from earlier this week. They could draft Penn State linebacker Micah Parsons at 7th overall. They've had connections with him, quote unquote. Also, some of the media has predicted the Lions pick Florida tight end Kyle Pitts, which I find from media wise more popular. But the Lions have other options such as LSU wide receiver Jamar Chase, and like you pointed out in our private Facebook Messenger group chat, they can also go for Devontae Smith and Waddle, both
Jalen
from Alabama.
Yes,
Jalen Waddle, thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're both from Alabama. Those are really good picks right there. So
I mean, Jamar Chase, right? Excuse me. It would be my number one choice because I think, knowing for the fact that they just recently restructured Jared Goff's contract after essentially swapping him for Matthew Stafford, I'm of the belief that they're thinking more so long term, past the 2 seasons, so to speak, for Jared Goff. They expect him to be their starting QB for the long haul. So I think for the first, or at least, for this first round, if not the first couple of rounds, Brad Holmes and company will be focused more so on getting the right pieces, assembling, the offense to make sure that Jared Goff, A, either has the right weapons and or B, has the right protection. And with all these talk about, we may see 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10, that leaves a potential room for some players to drop. That's why you hear a Jamar Chase could be one, Devontae Smith could be another, and Jalen Waddle. That's my top 3 in terms of from skill position. Coincidentally, I'll have him be a wide receiver because I believe you need to get a wide receiver for Jared Goff, especially now since Kenny Golladay is gone to the New York Giants. So my opinion would be if you see one of these guys available, especially Chase and Smith, available at 7, I wouldn't mind them taking a chance on that. If not, if you don't want to go wide receiver and say, hey, we want to go offensive lineman, give somebody, because we think Frank Ragnow, we saw how he's performed for us. Taylor Decker has been adequate at least. So why not strengthen that and also at the same time protect our investment / future in Jared Goff by picking an offensive lineman? And I'm seeing the one big name that jumps out would be Penei Sewell from Oregon. Pro Football Focus has him at number 4 on their big board rank, so I could see him as a possibility if he's available at 7, so to speak. If he's not, then you obviously got to go in a different direction. You mentioned the Penn State linebacker. He could be another possibility because linebacker was a considerable weakness, and if you're going to improve our defense, I believe the scheme that Dan Campbell was mentioning focused more so on linebackers, so that could be a possibility. For me, like I said, if it were my money, if I were, or at least advising Brad Holmes on what to do, I would consider best player available. And if it happens to be one of the wide receivers I mentioned, so be it. And if it's and then you factor in need. Wide receiver also fits that need, but I would say offensive line factors more so than wide receiver because you can find a wide receiver in the 2nd or 3rd round. After that, you probably may have to consider trading down, because I remember hearing some reports and rumors that that is a distinct possibility for the Lions case, that they may want to trade down. And consider the fact that, you've already gotten a huge haul in the way you did for Matthew Stafford. Why not stockpiling that a little bit more by trading down from your number 7 spot? If a team wants to jump up and snag a player that they really want, I would say that, okay, that's a possibility, especially if it means we're going to get more draft capital as a result. So that would actually be my options. I would consider all those options before I select another tight end in the first round, especially in the top 10. I'm not going that route again. No disrespect to Kyle Pitts. Enough. I've already been burned psychologically between Brandon Pettigrew and Eric Ebron. I see some promise in Hawkinson, but if he does not become that next Rob Gronkowski type of tight end, that type of transcendent player at the tight end spot, like a Travis Kelce or George Kittle, for example, then it was going to be seen as a wasted draft pick. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, why would you then go down the well again with another tight end in the first round? To me, it just doesn't make sense.
Right, gotcha. I see. I was going to ask why they didn't need an extra tight end, and you just answered it. So, yeah, at least T.J. Hawkinson is at least serviceable. He's catching passes from who used to be Matthew Stafford. Now Jared Goff going to be the new quarterback for the Detroit Lions. We've heard rumors they might draft a quarterback as well. But anyway, the wide receiver is one of the top 2 position players that the Lions need. But they're, like you pointed out, their offensive line needs a really good beef up, most importantly. Yeah, but you never know. I'll take either an offensive lineman or wide receiver. So either that or just the best player available. I understand why we don't need tight ends. But then again, we just don't know. So I guess we've covered everything. So
how about that?
Yeah, just 22 and change minutes at least. So, yeah. Any closing statement, Ed, before we go?
Well, a closing statement I would have to say, of course, if you were living under a rock the past couple of days, you saw the outpour, the reaction to the verdict that would happen in Minnesota. You know, I don't have to say no further about what I'm referring to. I will say that while it was a slither, a measure of accountability, not necessarily justice, but at least accountability, there's still work to be done. There's still a long way to go, and we're still seeing instances. What happened to George Floyd still happening all across this country, and even still, especially in Minnesota, in Minneapolis of all places. So, you know, while this was one step in the right direction, there's still a whole lot of mileage yet to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is our closing statement. So before we go, we want to remind everyone to download the all-new social sports mobile app, VigIt. Enter the referral code STABLES for Stables Media when you sign up. Available on the Apple App Store and Google Play. Download the VigIt app and sign up with the referral code STABLES, capital S, and the rest are lowercase, including the letter B in the middle, for 1,000 free Vig coins. Ed, excellent job as always. That concludes another fine episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on Stables Media. We'll be back next week for Ed Smith, and I'll be having Frank Vazner and Darren Weiss. This is Taylor Phillips signing off. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DT2Phillips, and follow Ed Smith on Twitter and Instagram at EdSmith313. Thanks very much for listening, downloading, and sharing. And remember, the truth is out there. TTFN, ta-ta for now. Power the people. Hit them the high, and we rest our case. Stay safe.
Take care, everybody.
The Michigan Sports Truth Podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers, nor does it represent or compete against any mainstream media in the state of Michigan. It is also not for entertainment or debating purposes. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them. And it is for every sports fan's own good because the truth is out there.